Welcome to Mojo Travels, and today we're counting down our picks for the top 10 reasons upsizing is the next big travel trend.
Are you a fan of our videos? Be sure to subscribe to Mojo Travels and ring the bell to be notified about our latest videos.
For this list, we're looking at one of the most talked about up-and-coming travel trends, and why exactly it's getting so much attention. Upsizing is a term that's most commonly used when referring to one's home or vehicle, but it would seem that many people are planning on going bigger with their travel arrangements. Number 10. Cheap flights. If you've looked up flights recently, you may have felt an overwhelming desire to get out your credit card. No, seats are not necessarily cheaper across the board, but for those willing to put in the time and energy, there are massive savings to be had. As much as 50% off what you typically expect to pay in a given season. When you're saving a few $100 per head on flights, that's money in your pocket. Of course, when you're planning a trip, money in your pocket is actually money that you could spend enriching the experience. And so, the opportunity to save on airfare is just one of the many factors contributing to the upsizing trend. A few $100 might not extend your trip by much, but it could add an extra excursion or contribute towards an accommodation upgrade. Number 9. Pent-up travel desire. This probably goes without saying, but even with all the hardship and anxieties of the pandemic, people really miss traveling. After all, if there was ever a time when we desperately needed a distraction, it was in 2020 and early 2021. Travel is, generally speaking, a great escape from the stresses of everyday life, but sadly, it wasn't in the cards. For anyone who had a trip canceled due to COVID, however, we can bet that you spent a lot of time fantasizing about the journeys that didn't happen. After spending more than a year daydreaming about getting back out there to explore the world, many people are wanting to make up for lost time by traveling in a bigger way than ever before. The negotiations and compromises that we often make with ourselves, those have gone out the window in favor of an unforgettable experience. Number 8. It's never been more affordable. Travel isn't cheap. And for the most part, this trend towards upsizing is an intentional disconnect from monetary concerns in favor of doing something unforgettable. That being said, there is nothing like a good discount to encourage a bit of excess. And after more than a year of seeing their livelihoods dry up, many travel-related businesses, both big and small, are offering great discounts to get people traveling sooner. The safety of locals and travelers alike, of course, remains a top priority. But wherever and however it's safe to travel, one can find significantly reduced rates on everything from accommodations and car rentals to local tours, admission prices at attractions, and even restaurants. Many places don't even need you to commit to coming imminently. It's really just about getting people to book. If a business is giving you a discount, why not pay it forward by giving it back to them by upgrading? That's exactly what many travelers are doing. Number 7. Leftover vacation time. Monetary savings are all well and good, but what about those vacation days that you've been saving up? Because of the sheer exhaustion of adjusting to our pandemic lives, many people did take their vacation days, if only to get a break from video calls or shut down for a few days. For those who refused to spend vacation days staycationing, you've probably banked a decent amount of time off. And what better way to spend them than on one epic trip that you'll never forget? All those days off that you didn't take in 2020 have been collecting interest, emotionally speaking, that is. So while a vacation day is well spent just by virtue of getting a break from work, many people will be looking to squeeze the maximum amount of pleasure and indulgence into each and every day off. Number 6. Remote work. Working from home is by no means easy. For everyone who loved the flexibility that came with it, there was someone struggling to juggle being full-time employees and parents. But here's the silver lining. For anyone who does any sort of office or computer-based work, chances are that your company has figured out how to keep things running smoothly with everyone working remotely. So whether you're traveling alone, with your partner, or as a whole family, kids included, you can likely do your job from anywhere in the world. Upsizing isn't just about the money you spend on your travels, but also the time you spend. If you only got 2 weeks vacation, no problem. Why not stay for a whole month anyways? Spend 2 out of 4 weeks working. As soon as you clock out for the day, you're in vacation mode. Number 5. An excuse for a bucket list trip. We all have that trip that we've been dreaming of for years. It's It's big, it's expensive, and it seems like there's always some excuse to put it off in favor of something more reasonable, more affordable, more practical. The pandemic has taught us a number of difficult lessons. And while many were harder and more painful, one lesson was that travel can in fact be brought to a screeching halt in a matter of days. And so, people are taking that realization and using it as fuel to stop making excuses and compromises in the name of practicality. Upsizing isn't just about going bigger for the sake of going bigger. It's a deliberate choice to make the next trip one that you will truly never forget. Because you know what? If not now, then when? There will always be another excuse not to go on that next big epic adventure. But this pandemic has given people an excuse to finally cross it off their bucket list. Number 4. The travel industry is encouraging it. It's likely that trips will come with more hassles for the foreseeable future. It's a small price to pay for being able to travel safely, both in terms of personal safety and that of the local communities. As a result, however, we expected to see a decrease in the popularity of weekend trips and shorter, more frequent vacations throughout the year, which had previously been on the rise. So not only are travel-related businesses offering savings to get people traveling, but they're actively appealing to that sense of adventure and the desire to make the most of every trip. How? By offering the sort of extensive voyages few people would have previously ever considered. The cruise industry, which was hit especially hard by the pandemic, is going bigger and better than ever before, and it's paying off. Both the Oceania Around the World in 180 Days cruise and Silversea's art-centric world tour sold out in a single day. Clearly, people want longer trips. Number 3. Unexpected savings. The impact of COVID-19 on the global economy is difficult to quantify. Businesses closed, jobs were lost, and financial aid programs needed to be implemented on an unprecedented scale. The hardships that many people weathered in 2020 and 2021 were colossal. With that being said, for those who were lucky enough to find their work unaffected, the lifestyle change stemming from lockdowns and business closures actually resulted in unexpected savings. With less socializing, less conventional activities, and no travel, those fortunate enough to be gainfully employed actually found themselves with money in the bank and few of their conventional outlets for spending. For those who travel annually, there's likely a complete year's worth of travel savings that can be rolled over into a first post-pandemic trip. When you're fortunate enough to have the money to do it, upsizing only feels natural. Number 2. The ultimate treat-yourself experience. 2020 was an extremely difficult year, and when the clock struck midnight to usher in 2021, there sadly wasn't a massive sense of relief or that magical reset that many of us had been dreaming of. So you know what? Go ahead and treat yourself if you can. You deserve it. Whatever you had to face and overcome over the course of the pandemic, you should congratulate yourself for doing it. Whether or not this pandemic cost you a trip in 2020, you've earned the biggest and best trip of your life. Stay somewhere nicer than you normally would. Eat at fancier restaurants and splurge on all those pricey little perks that you usually skip. This is a mentality that many people have already embraced as they begin planning their next trip. Why not upsize your travel plans after everything that you've had to overcome? Number 1. Increased travel confidence. While there are many factors contributing towards the upsizing trend in travel, they all stem from one crucial shared experience. While the thought of traveling abroad once filled many of us with pandemic dread, there is a major shift occurring, however slowly. People are, by and large, beginning to feel a renewed sense of confidence in the possibility of eventual travel and the ability to actually do it safely. The longer the pandemic lasted, the more surreal and historic it began to feel. For many, there was a sense of hopelessness that set in, but we also got better at navigating it. We collectively got smarter and adapted to the realities and challenges of this global event. And now, as vaccination rollouts progress and certain destinations express confidence in having put in place reliable safety measures, we're seeing the light at the end of the tunnel.
Do you agree with our picks? Check out this other recent clip from Mojo Travels, and be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to be notified about our latest videos.